It was a night that started just like any other. I was about 15 or 16 years old, home alone for reasons I can't even remember anymore. All I know is my entire family was out. The house was quiet except for the soft hum of my computer in my bedroom on the first floor. Back then, I was a huge gamer, absolutely obsessed with StarCraft. I could easily spend whole weekends battling on my PC. This was right before the COVID lockdown started, and gaming was my escape. That night, I was deep into a match when the doorbell rang. It rang twice, sharp, echoing chimes that instantly cut through my focus. I sighed, annoyed, because in a heated StarCraft match, seconds matter. I hurried to the front door, still thinking about my game. Like I always did when home alone, I called out, "Who is it?" A weak, soft voice answered from the other side. I couldn't make out the words. It sounded like an older woman. I unlocked the main door, but left the storm door closed. Standing there was an older woman I'd never seen before. She was smiling, a big, unchanging smile, and her hands were hidden behind her back. "Can I help you?" I asked through the door. She told me she needed to use a phone and asked if she could come inside. Now, my parents drilled one rule into me from the time I was little. Never let a stranger into the house. Ever. No exceptions. But she was a woman. She looked older, vulnerable. My instincts screamed no, but I didn't know how to say it politely. I told her, "I'm sorry, but I can't let anyone in. The library a few blocks away should have a phone." Deep down, I knew the library was closed at that hour. I just wanted her gone. Her smile didn't change, but her voice did. It turned sharp. "That's very rude," she said. "You're turning away an old lady asking for help?" I repeated what I'd been taught. It's a house rule. My parents don't allow strangers inside. And slowly, I started to close the door. She didn't move. She just stood there, still smiling. But now that smile felt wrong, menacing. I locked the door and walked back to my room. Not long after, the doorbell rang again. There was no way I was opening it this time. My gut told me something was off about this woman. I sat back at my desk, trying to return to my game, when I heard it clink, 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 a tapping sound, metal against glass. The sound was coming from the window, right in front of me. The blinds were drawn, but my room was the only one lit up in the house. Whoever, or whatever, was out there knew exactly where I was. I froze. The horrible thought hit me. It had to be the woman. She left the door and gone to my window. I muted my game. My heart was pounding. The clinking sound didn't stop. I couldn't sit there any longer. I left my room, slipping into the darkness of the living room. I sat there, hidden, waiting. The doorbell rang again. This woman wasn't just knocking now. She was harassing me. I tried to calm myself. Maybe she was just confused. Maybe she wasn't all there mentally. Maybe she was lost. But when the doorbell rang a second and third time, I cracked. I decided to open the door again, not to let her in, but to tell her I'd call someone for her. I opened the door, but now the woman was gone. In her place stood a man, maybe 10 years younger than her. He said to the storm door, "Have you seen my mother?" "Yes," I replied cautiously. "She came to my door earlier." He apologized. "She has dementia. She must have wandered off." I suddenly felt a little bad. He seemed worried. But then he asked, "Can I come inside for a minute?" Something about that question chilled me. Why did he need to come inside? I told him, like I told her, "I'm sorry, but we can talk to the door." I added, "I think she went into my backyard. I heard something at my window." He thanked me and walked down the path toward the backyard. Relieved, I went to the back window to watch him search. But there was nobody there. Not him. Not his mother. My heart raced. This wasn't right. The whole situation felt staged, like they were trying to get me to let my guard down. I shut off all the lights, crawled into bed, and left the TV on for background noise. Maybe if I pretended to be asleep, they'd go away. Then I heard it again. Clink, clink, clink. The metal tapping on the glass. This time, I couldn't help myself. I crept to the window, lifted the blind just enough to see out, and there she was, the same older woman, the same frozen smile. But now, she was holding a kitchen knife. She was tapping the blade against my window. I dropped the blind and stumbled backward. My whole body went cold. This couldn't be real. A few seconds later, the doorbell rang. Not once, 4 times in a row. I didn't move. The tapping stopped. I stayed in bed, frozen, until the house was completely silent. I didn't call the police. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared they'd think I was making it up. The next morning, I told my dad what happened. He told me I did the right thing by not opening the door. Everyone I told agreed. It sounded like an attempted robbery, maybe worse. Could have been real? Could she actually have had dementia and the man really been her son? Maybe, but it felt too coordinated, too practiced. Why did the man want to come inside? How did he even know she came to my house specifically? And why didn't he actually check the backyard when I said she was there? Too many questions. Too many things that didn't add up. All I know is this. If I had opened that door, I might not be here to tell this story.